And so when I say Chinese, I want you to scream out the nation that's associated with this. For example, if I say Chinese, you're going to say what?
China.
All right, let's say it with authority. When I say Chinese, you say what? China. All right, that's just a test right there. So here we go. Chinese.
China.
Russian.
Russia.
Italian.
Italy.
German.
Germany.
Swedish.
Sweden.
Korean.
Korea.
Egyptian.
Egypt.
Nigerian.
Nigeria.
Black.
Exactly. Nothing. Tell him, Pastor. Tell him, Pastor. Black, nothing. Yes.
I hope you were able to successfully identify the issue.
The lion won't sleep tonight. 'Cause we woke now, and we woke now. I said the lion won't sleep tonight. 'Cause we woke now, and we woke now. They want us to sell our souls to barter profit. Like God's property, it's hard to market. So we steady to aim, keep your eyes on target. Cause when you got to drive, yeah, they'd rather you park it. But I don't valet, you ain't getting these keys. I'm keeping closed hands, I'm on bended knee. I'm just a reflection, dealing with 8 sections. Art mixed with life, you can feel the convection. Your lion won't sleep tonight. 'Cause we woke now, and we woke now. I said the lion won't sleep tonight. 'Cause we woke now, and we woke now. I said
The same people that have stripped us of our identity and labeled us as a color have told us what it means to be black.
The white man is enacting a story all over the world. We left our homes and flooded the world. We smothered culture. We smothered knowledge. We erased history and rewrote it our way. Myself, my grandfather is 100% Ashkenazi Jewish. Claiming to be Jewish, Ashkenazi Jewish is just a conspiracy. White men claiming to be of tribes of Israel when I'm Germanic. You know, I have no ties to Israel, no ties to Judaism. You know, except loosely written history that's been whitewashed over for centuries. And you know,
from the Renaissance.
Oh yeah, right. You wipe everything clean. It's funny how exactly the Renaissance. It's this rebirth, but it's white rebirth. Think at the same exact time the Renaissance is happening, Columbus is sailing to America and committing genocide.
The same people that have stripped us of our identity and labeled us as a color have told us what it means to be black.
You know what you are? You're an ancient Israelite.
Ancient Israel, that's who we are. That's who we are. So if you give me time, if you give me time,
but
all that he said,
no, we don't have
so many years.
I know. Look at this. This is pages and pages of notes. And I promise we'll give more teaching. But here is my challenge to you.
All right.
I'm hearing some of your traditions. It's like the days of the Bible.
Yes.
Do you want to remain ancient Israelites or you want to be Jews? Do you want to remain ancient Israelites or you want to be Jews?
Now I can't figure it out. If y'all are the chosen ones, shouldn't y'all be obeying better than me? I mean, I even try to keep the 4th commandment. Try to keep the Sabbath day holy. I've spent many of hours trying to figure out which is the right Sabbath day, because we know that old Catholic Church, something a little fishy about them, don't we? With that white Jesus. I mean, here's a white guy telling you black people that your Messiah is not a long-haired white European guy. Your Messiah is Hebrew. my darker skinned brothers and sisters? When are you guys gonna wake up and become kings and queens?
Okay, I was just thinking about this morning. I grew up Baptist. I went to Vacation Bible School. I've read the Bible. I don't know if I'm interpreting it correctly, but if we are made in God's image, right, and the first modern humans originated in Africa, if God has a human form, God is black. God is black.
I was a Christian missionary for years, but there came a time in my life when I realized that what I was taught about the Bible was a lie. In my confusion, I cried out for help. I met an Israelite who introduced me to the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob, who is described in the Bible as having hair white as wool and eyes red as fire. Yes, the God in the Bible is black.
It does not matter what color Jesus was. What matters is that he came to the earth, lived a perfect life, died a death for the sins of the world, and then conquered the grave, proving that he is the Son of God. That's all that matters. That's all that matters. That's all that matters.
It just doesn't matter. 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 It just doesn't matter.
God's people, the Most High has chosen, the Hebrews, the blacks in America, okay? We're about to see some power. Come on, y'all. You got to get out of this lie, okay? You got to get out of this lie. You have got to come out of this lie. This white Jesus that you are worshiping is going to take you to hell. Please wake up. Oh, in the name of Yahushua, wake up. Oh, I feel the Holy Ghost. Oh, hallelujah. Hallelujah. Yahusha is an alpha, strong, black man. He is a Negro. He is a Hebrew. I don't know what word you need to hear to understand who they are, but it is not me. I am not a chosen. You can get mad. It doesn't matter. This is how the Most High has done it. I am a Gentile, and I know my place. But I'm called to tell all of these Gentile whites that I know that you are in the deepest deception that you have ever been in. And you have been in it your whole life. And the awakening is happening now. People are waking up.
That's why I'm convinced Jesus was black, you know, because he hasn't come back yet. Like, that's the... He said, I will be back at an hour that you least expect it. That is the blackest thing I've ever heard in my life. He's going to confuse the hell out of everybody, all the white people when he comes back, too. Because he's like, it's been a minute. White people will be like, it's been 2,000 years, Jesus. What are you talking about?
I woke up, man, this morning with some disturbing news out of Israel. That Hamas kidnapping children, putting them in cages, killing women, killing the elderly. That's some cowards. That's cowardly. And for all y'all Black Lives Matter who ain't saying nothing, well, let me figure out exactly what happened before I say anything. Well, figure out what? It ain't never been cool to kidnap kids and put them in cages. Ain't never been cool to kill women and elderly. Never been. No matter where you from, what you represent, what tribe you for, don't matter. There ain't never been no cool. There ain't never been none that nobody supported. And then you go and hide and put the kids in front of you as a barricade. That's some cowards. All you politicians who always have something to say on the contrary, I see you. All you Black Lives Matter people who always have something to say and always supported everything else and you quiet now, too. Only place in the world where I can go and study Torah and eat kosher food. Only place in the world. Only place in the world. Only place in the world.
I don't know why we leaving Mouse's house. He been good to us. He feed us on Saturday, clothe us on Sunday, and then beat us on Monday. Or was it?
Only place in the world where I can go and study Torah and eat kosher food. Only place in the world. Some cowardice, dog, and all y'all support it. Oh, f you. On my mama, we don't respect none of y'all for that. Peace.
I don't know why we leaving Mouse's house. He been good to us. He feed us on Saturday, clothe us on Sunday, and then beat us on Monday. Or was it Tuesday? I don't know.
Jasper, I just want to go. I was a house again. Jasper?
What?
Jasper, don't you want freedom? We going to Promised Land. The Promised Land.
Promised Land?
Genesis chapter 11, verse 10 explains the genealogy of Shem. Shem was a black man in Africa. If you repeat this fact, they can't laugh at you. If you repeat this fact, they can't laugh at you. If you repeat this fact, they can't laugh at you.
Want to say peace and blessings, everyone. Hope all is well with you guys. Want to say peace and blessings. I know I took a little time off from doing the lives because I need to get my voice back on track. So I really appreciate you guys for the love and support. Thank you guys for the prayers. Lifting me up in prayer, getting my voice back. And I tell you, I thank the Most High for his goodness and his mercy. We have a lot to cover tonight. We have a lot to cover tonight and tomorrow. So tonight, the goal of tonight is identifying who's who. As you see, the topic for tonight is the battle of Gog and Magog. And the subtitle is The Israelis 911, right? So we have a lot to cover, family. So tonight, our focus for tonight is to focus on identifying who is who. Because I know we've been told, so many of us, that it doesn't matter, the color, or should I say the skin complexion of Christ, long as the color of his blood was red, a lot of the different things that we've heard when it comes to us, when you start proving, when you pull out sources, of who's who, proving that Christ looked like you, looked like me, had dark melanated skin, had the same hair texture that you and I have. And all of a sudden we start hearing it really doesn't matter. We start hearing this here.
It does not matter what color Jesus was. What matters is that he came to the earth, lived a perfect life, died a death for the sins of the world, and then conquered the grave, proving that he is the Son of God. That's all that matters. That's all that matters. That's all that matters.
So we've all heard that, right? So tonight, I'm not going to really get into that portion of it, but tonight we do need to identify who's who. We cannot properly teach the scriptures, teach prophecy, if we don't properly identify who's who. It's so important to identify who the true Israelites is. It's also important to identify the very groups that is highlighted in Ezekiel chapter 39. And we're going to cover that tonight. We are going to identify who's who. All right, so let's go ahead and stretch out the screen here. And thank you again, family, for the love and support. And if my mic sounds okay, type 1. All right. If my mic sounds okay to you, type 1. All right. So again, the goal tonight is to identify who's who. Tomorrow night, we're going to go a little deeper with it. We're going to really start unpacking some things, some witchcraft that we've been subjected to to tolerate a lot of the stuff that we've tolerated as a community, right? So again, pull out your notepads because we got a lot to cover tonight. And again, this is not about really dealing with the war, dealing with what's going on over in Israel. And tomorrow night, I will give clarity on why and what I posted that states I'm praying for. I'm not praying for that Israel. I'm praying for Israel, but not that Israel. And I will give you clarity tomorrow night. But some of it we'll get some clarity tonight with this lesson. All right. So family, let's go ahead and get it in. And thank you again, family, for all the love and support. Thank you for the prayers. Thank you for just doing what you guys do. I really appreciate you guys. So again, tonight we are going to deal with Gog Magog, the Israelis 911. So let's go ahead and get into it. This is a quote from Malcolm X, and it's so true. It's prevalent in the day and time that we live in. It's prevalent to what we see before our eyes, what's being presented. If you aren't careful, the newspapers will have you hating the people who are being oppressed and loving the people who are doing the oppressing. Let me say that again. And this is a quote, a profound quote by Malcolm X. If you aren't careful, the newspapers will have you hating the people who are being oppressed and loving the people who are doing the oppressing. So for me, with the whole situation that's going on with Israel, the Israelis, let me be clear, Israelis and the Palestinians, truth of the matter is neither group really love our community. We have to be real about that. But we'll discuss that. We'll deal with some of that tomorrow night. So again, if you aren't careful, the newspapers will have you hating the people who are being oppressed and loving the people who are doing the oppressing. Now let's lay the foundation. You guys are familiar with some of this here because I like to reiterate certain points in different teachings. Some things I like to keep reminding you guys of key points. And some of this stuff, material I cover, is going to be like a refresher to some of you guys, while others brand new. So what is the meaning of media? This is coming from the Oxford Dictionary definition of the word media. It says here, the main means of mass communication. In other words, broadcasting, publishing, the internet, regarded collectively. So media, again, the main means of mass communication. Social media, because you see here, broadcasting, publishing, the internet, social media. Then we see entry number 2, it says plural form of medium. So media is the plural form of medium. And as we see here, the main means of mass communications, broadcasting, publishing, the internet, social media, your cell phones. And also, this is the plural form of medium. And what is the meaning of medium? The intervening substance through which impressions are conveyed to the senses or a force acts on objects at a distance. So that's what medium is. Next thing I want to cover is charms. And this all is going to tie into this lesson tonight. Charms. What is the meaning of charms? What is the meaning of charms? This is the etymological dictionary definition of what a charm is. This is etymology online. I encourage you guys, when you're doing your studies, especially identifying keywords, it's good to know the history, the evolution of that word. So charm, as we see here, the 13th century, incantation, magic charm. We see here magic spell, incantation, song, enchantment, religious formula. And then we see the word canary, which means to sing. Now, when we go to the verb portion of this, it says to recite or cast a magic spell. Now, think about this, family. When we look at social media, when we look at media, right, plural, when you look at the news, when you look at social media like YouTube and many of these outlets, all of these outlets sounds like a canary. They're reciting, right? Reciting or casting a magic spell to enchant, to fill, in other words, someone with desire. So when you're watching the news, guess what? You and others that are watching, we all are being subjected to charms. They all sound like what? A canary. They all sound like like they're possessed by that spirit of ventriloquist, which comes from the word ventriloquy. Sound like puppets. So again, let's go back to the noun. It says incantation, magic charm, magic spell, incantation, song, enchantment, religious formula. And it comes from this word. When we see Carmen, it says it comes from this word canary. In other words, to sing. The verb, to recite or cast a magic spell, to enchant, to fill, in other words, someone with desire. So let's go to Daniel chapter 7, verse 23, laying the foundation. Let's go here. This is all going to tie in to media. This is going to tie into charms, spell casting, getting people to sing and say and regurgitate information, to be in sync with one another. But let's go to Daniel chapter 7, verse 23. Let's lay the foundation. It says this, it reads, thus he said, the fourth beast shall be the fourth kingdom upon the earth, which shall be diverse, shana, from all kingdoms, and shall devour the whole earth, and shall tread it down and break it in pieces. Let me read it one more time. Thus he said, the fourth beast shall be the fourth kingdom upon the earth, which shall be diverse. And the Hebrew word is shana or shana'ah, from all kingdoms, and shall devour the whole earth, and shall tread it down and break it in pieces. So again, diverse. That's the attribute of this beast, diverse. So let's go to the Hebrew dictionary definition of this word, shana or shana'ah. It says this, to alter, to change. So this beast is going to be great at manipulation, alter, changing things. Let me say that again. This beast is great with altering, great with changing, great with manipulation. And when we go to the etymological dictionary definition of this word, diverse, notice what it says. Different in kind, not alike, essentially different. Goes on to say, turn different ways, disagreeable, unkind, hostile. But let's go down to where it says here that's highlighted in red. The sense of including and promoting persons of previously underrepresented minority identities. That is important. And the question is, who is this beast? Who is this beast? Who is this beast that will operate under the spirit of altering, the spirit of changing, the spirit of manipulation, taking underrepresented identities, hijacking them? Who is this beast? Who is this beast? Who is this beast that will operate under the spirit of altering, changing, including and promoting persons of previously underrepresented minority identities? Who is this beast? Let's go to verse 24 of this same chapter. And the 10 horns out of this kingdom are 10 kingdoms that shall arise, and another shall rise after them, and he shall be diverse, Shana or Shana'ah, from the first, and he shall subdue 3 kings. Let me read it one more time. And the 10 horns out of the kingdom are 10 kings that shall arise, and another shall rise after them, and he shall be diverse, Shana or Shana'ah. Diverse, remember, manipulation, alter, changing, manipulation from the first, and he shall subdue 3 kings. So again, he shall subdue 3 kings. And let's go to the Hebrew dictionary definition of this word, subdue. It says here, to depress or sink, to humiliate, bring down, cast down, put down, be lower, bring lower, lay lower, make lower, put lower. See, this is important, family. These are some key words that are very important. So who is this diverse beast, right? This beast that's great with manipulation, this beast that's great with altering, changing. This is a major attribute of this beast. Who is this diverse beast who shall subdue the 3 kings? Who are the 3 kings? 2 Kings chapter 3, starting at verse 7. And he went and sent to Jehoshaphat, the king of Judah, saying, the king of Moab hath rebelled against me. Wilt thou go with me against Moab to battle? And he said, I will go up. I am as thou art, my people as thy people, and my horses as thy horses. Verse 8, and he said, which way shall we go up? And he answered, the way through the wilderness of Edom. Verse 9, so the king of Israel, that's 1 king, so the king of Israel went, and the king of Judah, that's 2 kings, the king of Israel, the northern kingdom, the king of Judah, the southern kingdom, and the king of Edom. And they fetched a compass of 7 days' journey, and there was no water for the host and for the cattle that followed them. Verse 10, and the king of Israel said, alas, that Yahweh hath called these 3 kings together to deliver them into the hand of Moab. So the 3 kings are the king of Israel, the king of Judah, and the king of Edom. Right? So this beast is going to subdue all 3 kings. But let's go to verse 25. All right? We're going to bring all of this together. And he shall speak great words, malai or malaya, against the Most High, and shall wear out Bala or Bala'ah, the holy people, the saints, Quadayash of the Most High, and think to change times and laws, and they shall be given into his hand until a time and times and the dividing of times. Let me read this one more time. And we still dealing with the same beast. And this beast that's great with manipulation. And this beast that's great with changing things, altering things. And he shall speak great words against the Most High and shall wear out the holy people of the Most High, which is Israel, and think to change times and laws, and they shall be given into his hand until a time and times and the dividing of times. So again, he shall speak great words against the Most High. Let's look up this, the meaning of great words. Let's see what it means. Let's see what this Hebrew word means. Israeli, milah, in ancient Hebrew, malah. But we see here a word, command, discourse. All right, so that key word is discourse. So this beast that's going to be good with manipulation is going to also create discourse. That's another thing, that's another attribute that comes with the territory of this beast. That's the other attribute, creating discourse. Now let's understand the word discourse. Let's go to the etymological dictionary definition of this word. It says here, process of understanding. So this beast is going to be great with manipulating, but also creating what? Discourse. Going to cause problems with the process of understanding, reason, thought, a running about, conversation, reasoning. See, that all ties in to the foundation that we're laying out. Media, the plurality of medium. Then we dealt with charms, canary. Now we're dealing with this fourth beast who's good with manipulation, who's great with changing things, and also going to cause so much discourse. To run about, run to and fro. That sounds like trolling, doesn't it? That sounds like trolling. To run about, run to and fro, hasten or hasten. So let's deal with the Hebrew definition of the word wear out. This is all tying in together. This is what it says: to fail, to wear out, decay, consume. But here's the key: used up completely, harass constantly. Now, with all that we brought together, I hope you guys are grabbing hold of this. We're laying the foundation. Make your notes, because this is imperative as we begin to, take the layers off and identify who is who. All right. So we dealt with this beast, gifted at manipulation, causing discourse by way of communication. The whole goal is to harass Yah's people, use up Yah's people, make Yah's people fail. So this beast will create, through manipulation, will create so much discourse through the media that many will become worn out and be good for nothing and give up. Sound familiar, right? Sounds familiar. But let's continue. Have we been subjected to witchcraft and charms through the media? Come on, we got to be real about this, family. Have we been subjected to witchcraft and charms through the media? Have we not been subjected to witchcraft? Now, let me show you some of the witchcraft, and all of this ties in. Let's start with this number 6. How significant is the number 6? How significant is the number 6? So let me play a quick clip and let me show you how important the number 6 is. Let me show you here. Let me let you hear with your own ears, and then we'll continue on, and I'm going to shed light on this. Here we go.
It's really unfathomable. And 600, I hope everyone understands, 600 fatalities in Israel, 600 fatalities in Israel, 600 fatalities in Israel. It's really unfathomable. And 600, I hope everyone understands, 600 fatalities in Israel proportionally is like having here 20,000 American fatalities. 20,000 people who are being butchered, massacred by these savage terrorists. It's our 9/11.
Okay. Now, remember what I said. Remember, we laid out the foundation thus far. We identified what media is, and we identified media such as the newspapers, social media, the internet, your cell phones. So we identify what media is. Plurality of the word medium, right? We also identified the word charm, canary, puppet, ventriloquy. We also identified the fourth beast, laid out the key attribute of the fourth beast, which the key attribute is manipulation by changing, modifying. Then we dealt with the word discourse, because he's going to speak great words, right? Going to create discourse through communication to wear out the people of the Most High, to make it so that way we are good for nothing. We just say, hey, you know what? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You know what? I'm just tired of dealing with this. Now, let's see how significant the number 6 is. Oh, we're getting ready to go into the deep stuff here, family. How significant is the number 6? It starts with understanding the system of man, which is known as the mark of the beast. We throw this around a lot. When I say we, whether you're in the church, outside the church, whether you're a pastor in the church, pastoring outside the church, whether you're teaching in the church, teaching outside of the church, this get tossed about so much. The mark of the beast. The mark of the beast. But I want to break down and give proper clarity of what the mark of the beast is. Not going to go too deep with it, but just work with me here. So what is the mark of the beast? Let's go to Revelation chapter 13, starting at verse 16. It reads, and he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. Verse 16, and he causes all, both small, great, rich, poor, free, bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their forehead, and that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. And see, when we see here the name, the Hebrew word Shem, which means reputation. It could be a literal name, but also it could refer to the character, the reputation of a person or whoever you're identifying, or the number of his reputation. Here is wisdom. let him that hath understanding. This key, family. Here's wisdom. Let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast. See, there's a reason why it says, here is wisdom. Let him that hath understanding. See, family, there's so many that are teaching the mark of the beast, that's teaching prophecy, but truly don't have understanding. So it says, here's the wisdom. Here's wisdom. Let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of man. And his number is 666. In other words, 666. So what is the number of man? What is the number of man? Let's go to Genesis chapter 1, starting at verse 26, and then we'll skip down to verse 31. So we'll read verse 26, 27, and skip down to 31. And Elohim said, let us make man in our image, after our likeness, and let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, over the fowl of the air, over the cattle, over all the earth, over every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth. So Elohim created man, bara'ah or bara, man, Adam, in his own image, tazalam or salam. In the image of Elohim created he, him, male, zakar, and female. Nakwabah created he them. So let's skip down to verse 31. And Elohim saw everything that he had made, and behold, it was very good. It was very good. Wahana tawab. It was very good. So family, up to this point, to the sixth day of creation, everything was good. Anyone that tells you differently is completely wrong, because the scripture tells us up to the sixth day, everything was good. But the key is, in the evening and the morning were the sixth day. So this is the day that man was created. So the sixth day is when man was created, and this is the number of man. So 666 represents the system of man, right? The number 6 represents man, that is man, but 666 represents the system of man. The system of man. So religion is a system of man. Judaism, system of man. Christianity, system of man. Catholicism, system of man. Hinduism, system of man. So 666 represents the system of man. So where are the 600,000 letters of the Torah? Now we're going to start with this thought. We already gave you a little bit about the number 6. I allowed you to hear the person from the news clip mention 600. And I'm going to show you that that is not a coincidence. That's not a coincidence. Let me play that clip one more time.
It's really unfathomable. And 600, I hope everyone understands, 600 fatalities in Israel. 600 fatalities in Israel. 600 fatalities in Israel. It's really unfathomable. And 600, I hope everyone understands, 600 fatalities in Israel proportionally is like having here 20,000 American fatalities. 20,000 people who are being butchered, massacred by these savage terrorists. It's our 9/11.
600. So family, let me take a quick pause here. Let me go get me something to drink because my throat is getting dry. So let me go ahead and get something to drink. I meant to bring something in here to keep my throat dry. Moist, so to speak. So let me go ahead and play a quick clip and I'll be right back. Let's go ahead and do this here.
The lion won't sleep tonight. 'Cause we woke now, and we woke now. I said the lion won't sleep tonight. 'Cause we woke now, and we woke now. They want us to sell our souls to barter profit. Like God's property, it's hard to market. So we steady to aim, keep your eyes on target. Cause when you got to drive, yeah, they'd rather you park it. But I don't valet, you ain't getting these keys. I'm keeping closed hands, I'm on bended knee. I'm just a reflection, dealing with 8 sections. Art mixed with life, you can feel the convection. Your lion won't sleep tonight. 'Cause we woke now, and we woke now. I said the lion won't sleep tonight. 'Cause we woke now, and we woke now. I said
All right, that's better. That's better. Had to get something to drink here. All right. So before we continue here, let me give some shout outs. I see some contributions here. So let me acknowledge that real quick here. Let's start with Harlem Hottie. Let's give a special shout out to Harlem Hottie. Appreciate the love and support. Really appreciate it here. All right. Thank you for the love and support again, family. Let's show some love for Harlem Hottie. Says now I'm new here, just wanted to put something on it. So thank you for the love and support. Also, we have Obakan Jones. Thank you for your work. I'll treat your work like I'm buying a book and study it. Thank you again for the love and support. And family, let's show some love for Obakan Jones. And lastly, let's show some love as we see here, all gas, no brakes, truth. So let's show some love for each one of these individuals that contributed to tonight. Really appreciate it again, the love and support. So again, Harlem Hottie, show some love for Harlem Hottie. Show some love for Obakan Jones. And also show some love for let me see here. It's not coming up here. All gas, no brakes. Thank you for the contributions. Really appreciate it, family. I do not take it lightly. Thank you again. All right. So let's go ahead and get back into it, family. Let's go ahead and get back into it. So where are the 600,000 letters of the Torah? Now you heard 600 in the news clip that I played. Now, let's deal with this 600,000 number. From this article titled, Where Are the 600,000 Letters of the Torah? I'm going somewhere with this. All right. And I will drop the link in the comment section just so that way you guys can, at your downtime or when you're going back over reviewing this lesson, you can read this source at your leisure, because I'm going to deal with this here. And this is mysticism. This tying into the charms. This is tying into, as we highlighted, mediums. So let me drop this link in the chat. All right, just getting the link here. Let's see here. All right, here we go. All right, there you go. So let's deal with this 600,000. And this is all going to tie into the number 6, the system of man. Where are the 600,000 letters of the Torah? And a question is asked here. So this particular article is addressing 600,000. I have been told that there are 600,000 letters in the Torah scroll, and I always understood this to be the case. However, I was recently made aware that if one actually counts the letters, one would find that there are just over half that amount of letters in a standard Torah scroll. How do we reconcile the number 600,000 with the more accurate count? And here's the response. There are 304,800 letters, there are 304,800 plus letters in the Torah. But as you noted, we often hear of the 600,000 letters in the Torah. Several non-standard methods of counting are offered to arrive at the number 600,000. All right, so I'm going somewhere with this. We'll get there. You're going to understand where I'm going at with 600, starting with the number 6, then 666. In the news clip, 600. Now we're dealing with 600,000 letters supposedly in Torah. But as we see here, that's not true. So who created the 600,000 letters of the Torah teaching, and what do they represent? So who created the 600,000 letters of the Torah teachings, and what do they represent? Let's go back here. Let's see what it says. It says, there's yet more significance to the idea of inverse letters. The 600,000 letters correspond to the 600,000 souls of Israel. Make a note of that, family. Although there are many more than 600,000 Jews, there are 600,000 general souls which divide into the individual sparks that become each of our souls. Some are the black letters. Their place in Torah is clear. So written and hidden letters in the Torah. Let's go to another source. See, family, there's so much mysticism that many of us are being subjected to by getting into this Talmudic doctrine, getting into the Mishnah, getting into all that stuff, getting into a lot of Jewish mysticism and other mystical systems that Jewish mysticism, which is from the Maccabee mystical system. I mean, it's just pulling from some of everything. So let's go to written and hidden letters in the Torah. Let's go to this online tool here, Sepharia. Let's see what it says. Let's see what it says. This article was written by Robert Gammer. The Zohar Kadash states that there are 600,000 letters in the Sefer Torah, which corresponds to the 600,000 souls of the 12 tribes of the Jewish people. Similarly, the Megale Amukos writes that the soul of every Jew stems from one of the 600,000 letters in the Torah. The name Yisrael itself can be viewed as an acronym for the words Yesh, Shishim, Rebo, Odiat, La Torah. There are 60 myriads, in other words, 600,000 of letters in the Torah. So this all are Jewish mysticism. But there's a reason behind that. There's a significance behind what I just shared with you. There's an importance of what I shared with you thus far. So again, have we been subjected to witchcraft and charms through the media? Have we been, let me ask that question again. Have we been subjected to witchcraft and charms through the media? Let's go to another article here. It's history.com. Let me read something to you here, right? Remembering Hands Across America. Cragen proposed an audacious plan called a stunt by United Press International. And this is from that movie. I can't think of the name of the movie that came out a few years ago, horror movie by, I believe, Peele, from the comedians Key and Peele, or Key and P, excuse me if I'm butchering their names. Remember the Hands Across America? Oh, that movie has more, there's more, there's more meaning to what you saw in that movie. There's so many different symbolisms that he was using as allegories, pointing to a key point. Notice here again, I'm going to read this, and this is dealing with Hands Across America. Remembering Hands Across America, Cragen proposed an audacious plan called a stunt by United Press International to raise between 50 million and 100 million for hungry and homeless Americans by enlisting 6 million people, 6 million people, to form a coast-to-coast human chain on May 25th, 1986. The undertaking was so great that it required 9 months and a staff of 400 to plan it. Hoping to replicate the success of We Are the World, USA for Africa produced another charity power anthem to be played on radio stations across the United States to promote the event. Composed by New York jingle writers, Hand Across America was set to premiere during halftime of Super Bowl 20 until Michael Jackson protested because he believed it upstaged We Are the World, which he co-wrote with Lionel Richie. Organizers pulled the song, and Americans who turned in to watch the Chicago Bears maul the New England Patriots were instead treated to a commercial featuring Hands Across America. Celebrity co-chairs Bill Cosby and Lily Tomlin. So why was the goal set to 6 million people? Why was the goal set to 6 million people? Let me say it again. Why was the number set to 6 million people? And there's a lot of breadcrumbs all around that, the story behind that. But let me go. Let's keep it moving. Let's keep this momentum going. Let's keep this train going. So 6 million is a Kabbalistic number. Let me say that again. 6 million is a Kabbalistic number. It is numerological, predetermined, and through various dark conjuring rites. In other words, this is getting into charms, supernaturally imbued with power. As a result, it can never be changed. This is critical, central to the hex, 6 million. Remember, we just dealt with 600,000 connecting to supposedly the souls of Israel, or should I say of the Jewish community as we know them, according to Jewish mysticism. So this is critical, central to the hex, 6 million is the number. There are never more deaths. There are never less. 6 million is the number. It must be ritually repeated and publicly acknowledged. 6 million never refers to actual deaths. It is purely symbolic, esoteric, mystical number symbolizing the perfect result, a perfect creation, a magical great work in progress. So again, remember, 6 million number magic spell is continuously rehearsed through the media. Let me say that again. The 600 million, the number 6, whether it's 600 million, 600,000, 600, right? that number, magic spell, is continuously rehearsed through the media because that 600 connects to that 600,000 supposed Jewish souls, still pointing to 6 million. Because if you take 600,000 multiplied by 10, the 10th letter is the Yod. Anyway, so 6 million, that number, right? That magic spell, the 600 million magic spell is continuously rehearsed through the media. So there are never more deaths. Remember, there are never less. 6 million is the number. It must be ritually repeated and publicly acknowledged. Now we're getting into charms. Now we're getting into charms as I laid out in the beginning of this lesson. Have we been subjected to witchcraft and charms through the media? Have we been hypnotized? Let's go to the 83rd book of Psalms, starting at verse 1. And we're going to circle back. Keep not thou silence, O Elohim. Hold not thy peace and be not still, O Elohim. For lo, thine enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee lifted up the head. So let's deal with the Hebrew definition of the word tumult, which is hama. It says to make a loud sound, to be in great commotion, to rage war, sound, be in an uproar. So tumult simply means war cry. Let's see what war cry means. Notice what it says here. Entry number 1, a cry used by a body of fighters in war. Now, I want y'all to hear the slogans that you hear to rally a people. Let's hear the cry that's being used to by a body of fighters in war. Let's hear this clip again, and then we'll deal with entry number 2.
It's really unfathomable. And 600, I hope everyone understands, 600 fatalities in Israel, 600 fatalities in Israel, 600 fatalities in Israel. It's really unfathomable. And 600, I hope everyone understands, 600 fatalities in Israel proportionally is like having here 20,000 American fatalities. 20,000 people who are being butchered, massacred by these savage terrorists. It's our 9/11.
All right. So war cry. You heard 9/11. You heard the word savages. You heard 600. So a cry used by a body of fighters in war. Number 2, a slogan used especially to rally people to a cause. So what is the current slogan that's currently rallying a certain group of people to a cause? Let me ask that question again. What is the current slogan that's currently rallying a certain group of people to a cause? Let me play it one more time, and then we're going to continue on. Let me play this clip one more time.
It's really unfathomable. And 600, I hope everyone understands, 600 fatalities in Israel, 600 fatalities in Israel, 600 fatalities in Israel. It's really unfathomable. And 600, I hope everyone understands, 600 fatalities in Israel proportionally is like having here 20,000 American fatalities. 20,000 people who are being butchered, massacred by these savage terrorists. It's our 9/11.
Let me play one of the individuals it stirred up. Let me play him again. Let me play again an individual who got stirred up, who participated in this rally. Let me play him one more time.
I woke up, man, this morning with some disturbing news out of Israel. That Hamas kidnapping children, putting them in cages, killing women, killing the elderly. That's some cowards. That's cowardly. And for all y'all Black Lives Matter who ain't saying nothing, well, let me figure out exactly what happened before I say anything. Huff. Figure out what? It ain't never been cool to kidnap kids and put them in cages. It ain't never been cool to kill women and elderly. Never been. No matter where you from, what you represent, what tribe you from, it don't matter. There ain't never been no cool. There ain't never been none that nobody supported. And then you go and hide and put the kids in front of you as a barricade. That's some cowards. All you politicians who always had something to say on the contrary, I see you. Huff. All you Black Lives Matter people who always had something to say and always supported everything else, and you quiet now, huff too. Only place in the world where I can go and study Torah and eat kosher food. Only place in the world. Only place in the world. Only place in the world.
I don't know why we leaving Mouse's house. He been good to us. He feed us on Saturday, clothes us on Sunday, and then beat us on Monday. Or was it Tuesday? I don't know.
Jasper, I just want to go. I was a house again, Jasper.
What?
Jasper, don't you want freedom? We going to Promised Land. The Promised Land.
Promised Land?
Yeah, Amari Stoudemire. It's interesting, right? If you guys study the history of Savannah, Georgia, the Igbos, by way of Haiti, right, were brought over to Savannah. They were young Negroes of the Igbo tribe. If you go down to First African Baptist Church, Savannah, Georgia, you'll see their statues in front of the church. Church was founded in 1773. Those Negroes identified as being Israel. Hebrew writings on the pews, well before this so-called talking points that have been created to try to point the fingers or give credit to what's his name, Cherry, and some of the other guys to say that they are the fathers, so to speak, of the grassroots Hebrew Israelites movement, grassroots movement. Well, this church was around before these guys were even born, right? But you have these soldiers in front of the images of these soldiers, the statues of these soldiers. One of them became the first president of Haiti. But what the slave owners did, these owners of these Negroes brought them to Savannah, and believe it or not, used many of them as human shields. These are young guys, teenagers. They fled, left them behind. And guess what? These Negroes that was left behind are the reason why Georgia did not get taken. Because had Georgia got taken, the United States would not exist. But they were used as human shields by the slave owners, military. Anyway, just thought I'd give you guys a little historical facts that most have no clue about. And I am working on Road to Savannah Part 3 that's going to include a lot of this history that most of you guys may not know. So what is the current slogan? What is the current slogan that's currently rallying a certain group of people to a cause? This is Israelis 911. We done heard that a number of times. This is Israelis 911. Look it up. Are there any other Israeli rallying cries? Are there any other Israeli rallying cries? Well, yep, it is. 6 million is used as a rallying cry. We heard 600 was used as a rallying cry. We know that 600,000, 600 still ties into the 600,000. 600,000 represents the souls of the Jewish community as we know them. Same with the 6 million. It's used as a rallying cry. So have we been subjected to witchcraft and charms through the media? Have we been subjected to witchcraft and charms through the media? Well, let me give you some articles here. This is 1918. 1 billion fund to rebuild Jewry. New York Times, October 18th, 1918. And this is coming from the New York Times website, the archives. So you have to actually subscribe to be able to access these articles. So 1 billion fund to rebuild Jewry. New York Times, October 18th, 1918. But notice here, and I'm just going to highlight what you see here. I'm going to zoom in. 6 million Jews need help. So printed headline, 1 billion fund to rebuild Jewry. 6 million souls will need help to resume normal life when war is ended. Loans Without Interest Committee of American Jews lays plan for the greatest humanitarian task in history. 6 million Jews need help. This is before Hitler. Well before Hitler. 1918, shortly after the Balfour Declaration, because the Balfour Declaration was in 1915. So we see 6 million. Why that number in October 18th, 1918? And here's the actual article that I was able to download from that website, from the archives of the New York Times. 6 million souls to resume normal life when war is ended. 1919. Notice what this says here. Ukrainian Jews aim to stop pogroms. New York Times, September 8th, 1919. Ukrainian Jews. It's like a cycle. Ukrainian Jews. Right? Notice what it says. Let me go to the actual screen print because I made sure I screen print, took a screenshot of the search results. And as you see here in the back, Ukrainian Jews, let me zoom this in. Ukrainian Jews, 6 million are in peril. Ukrainian Jews aim to stop pogroms, commissioned to visit Europe and prepare a memorandum for President Wilson. Lansing gives permission. Mass meeting hears that 127,000 Jews have been killed and 6 million are in peril. And this is dealing with Ukrainian. Here's the actual screenshot of the download. You see 6 million at the bottom of your screen. Let me zoom in so you can see it. All right. Let me zoom it out. Here's another article. Tells sad plight of Jews. New York Times, November 12th, 1919. All right, let's see what this sad plight is about. Right? This is what I'm reading right here, but this is coming from that article. The successive blows of contending armies have all but broken the back of European Jewry, he said, and have reduced to tragically unbelievable poverty, starvation, and disease about 6 million souls, or half the Jewish population of the earth. And this is that article that I just read from. As you see here, unbelievable poverty, starvation, and disease. About 6 million souls, or half the Jewish population of the earth. Let's go to another article. Jewish war aid gets 100,000 gift. New York Times, May 7th, 1920. Back in 1920, 100,000 is a lot of money in comparison to where we are today. But let's go to this article here. As we see here, right? And we'll go to the actual screen print. It says here, this is coming from the article. The Fund for Jewish War suffers in Central and Eastern Europe, where 6 million face horrifying conditions of famine, disease, death, was enriched. Jewish War, May 7th, 1920. Printed headline, Jewish War aid gets $100,000 gift. Nathan Strauss tells sympathy for co-religionists. And this is the actual article. You see at the bottom, even though I got to print over it, but this is where you see 6 million. So let's go to another article. Poland agrees to change Auschwitz tablets. You guys probably remember this, but I'm going to walk you guys through. This. Let's go to this article here. And for your records, I'm going to drop the link inside the chat so you guys can continue to do your research offline at your leisure. Let's go to this. Here it is. I'm going to drop this link so that way you guys understand. No, this is not me, right? Let me bring this to the front real quick. Bear with me 1 second. I'm going to drop this link in the comment section. All right, let's drop it inside the comment section. I'm giving you a lot of information, family. All right. And let's be respectful in the comment section, family. Let's be respectful in the comment section. All right. Because we know that we're being watched by a cloud of witnesses. So we want to be respectful in the comment section. All right. So again, this is not trying to minimize, let's just say the loss of life on any side. This is not trying to minimize or degrade or mock anyone, but I'm just giving you historical information. This is another article. This is New York Times. All right. So again, I'm not dealing with anything that's going on with the Israeli-Hamas war. That's not what this is about. But this is dealing with the prophecies that we're going to cover. This is leading us up right into that. And that is going into Ezekiel chapter 38, chapter 39 is what we're going to touch on. But let's go and deal with this article here. Poland agrees to change Auschwitz tablets. Poland agrees to change Auschwitz tablets after 50 years of deflecting the requests of Jewish groups. The Polish government has agreed to change the wording on stone tablets at Auschwitz and Birkenau, the adjacent Nazi camps where more than 1 million Jews died during World War II. The move follows decades of appeals by Jewish groups who say the current plaques do not fully reflect the suffering of Jews and they're focused too heavily on the camp's non-Jewish victims. While thousands of non-Jews were among the estimated 1.5 million killed at Auschwitz, the victims were predominantly Jewish. Now, why is this significant? Because it went from 4 million to 1.5 million. And it's saying out of this 1.5 million, it's just saying predominantly Jewish. Not saying this entire 1.5 million are Jewish. Now, again, I want to say this, even if it's 5 people, you know what I mean? I'm not condoning, I'm not defending anyone, you know, I'm not celebrating tragic events. That's not what I'm here for. That's not what we're laying out. So I'm not going to mock this situation, whether 6 million, whether it's 700,000. That's still a lot of people, family, no matter how we look at it. But again, let's just focus on the history. All right. So this is New York Times. The Jewish community in Poland, they are the ones for decades were appealing what was on the original tablets. So to the right, or to your left rather, this is the original tablet. Let me zoom in. This is the original tablet. 4 million people suffered and died here at the hands of the Nazis, murderers between the years 1940 and 1945. It says 4 million people suffered. Doesn't really say who in terms of the majority. It just says 4 million people suffered. But nevertheless, let's just take it for what it's been taken or how it's been taught. Because I was taught about this when I was a kid in school, about Auschwitz, 4 million people dying in those incinerators. But let's go and see what the new tablet says. Forever let this place be a cry of despair and a warning to humanity, where the Nazis murdered about 1.5 million men, women, and children, mainly Jews, from various countries of Europe. So that's what it reads now. So that is a drop in 2.5 million people. So at that time, the number was 6 million. So if we subtract just from this area alone, 6 million goes down to, you take 2.5 million out of that 6 million. Now you get to 3.5 million. All right. I'm just letting the historical information speak for itself. All right. So what is the prophecy of Gog and Magog? Now I'm going to tie all of this together. We dealt with a lot thus far. Now it's time for us to deal with the prophecy of Gog and Magog. We got a lot to cover. We can go into the deeper water. When will this battle occur? Because a lot of Christians, I've seen a lot of videos, quite a few videos online, a number of Christian ministries teaching that we're now setting up for the battle, the final battle, Armageddon, and that they are going to these set of passages, this prophecy, to justify their teaching. And we want to really delve into this here. We're going to really delve into this. So let me just give some acknowledgments. All right, let's see. It looks like I have a couple of new people here that contributed tonight. So let's go ahead and acknowledge them real quick, family. Prave C, I want to say thank you for the love and support tonight. Shabbat Shalom, Pastor Kelly. Mishpachah, that's family. Yahweh Baruch, that's blessings. You today and all days, hallelujah. First time or two. Thank you for the love and support. Really appreciate you, family. Let's show some love to Prave C. Thank you for the contributions. Again, thank you for the love and support. Also want to thank you, DeWitt Patton, love offering from Indiana. Thank you for the love and support. Really appreciate it, family. Let's show DeWitt Patton some love here. And also Malak Yashar Yahukanan. Let's show him some love as well. Thank you, my brother. Thank all you guys for the love and support. So again, want to just give shout outs again to Harlem Hadi, Obakan Jones, All Gas No Brakes, Privacy, Dwight Patton, and Malak Yashar Yukanan, Yahukanan, excuse me. I want to thank you guys for the love and support. And family, let's show them some love. Let's show them some love. All right, so let's continue with this. We covered a lot of ground, family. We covered a lot of ground in this hour and 25 minutes, but we got a lot more to cover. So when will this battle occur? Where will it happen? Where are they today? That's the key question. Where are they today? Let's go to Ezekiel chapter 38, starting at verse 1. Starting at verse 1. And the word of Yahweh came unto me, saying, Son of man, set thy face against Gog, the land of Magog, the chief prince of Meshech and Tubal, and prophesy against him, and say, Thus saith Yahweh Elohim, Behold, I am against thee, O Gog, the chief prince of Meshech and Tubal. Verse 4, and I will turn thee back and put hooks into thy jaws, and I will bring thee forth, and all thine enemies, and all thy armies, let me say it again, and all thine armies, horses and horsemen, all of them clothed with all sorts of armor, even a great company of bucklers and shields, all of them handling swords. Verse 5, Persia, Ethiopia, Libya with them, all of them with shield and helmet, Gomer and all his bands, the house of Togarmah or Togarmah of the north quarters, and all his bands, and many people with thee. We see a council here, a crafty council. So we see some of the countries in Africa. See, this is Northern Africa here. We see Persia, we see Ethiopia, we see Libya, we see some of the African countries joining an alliance to Gog or Magog, Meshech, Tubal, Gomer. So much to unpack here. Let's continue. Verse 7, be thou prepared. Let me say this to you, family. That's why we're going over this. Be thou prepared, and prepare for thyself, thou and all thy companies that are assembled unto thee, and be thou a guard unto them. We getting here. Let's break this thing down. Be thou prepared. What does this mean? The Hebrew dictionary definition of prepared. Let's see what it says. Right? Qawam in the ancient, kum in the Israeli. So be prepared, rise, abide, accomplish, be clearer, confirm, continue, decree, endure. Come on, family. We're going to have to endure. That's the key. Endure, get up, make good, perform, rear up. So when the scripture says be prepared, it's telling us it's time for us to rise up. It's time for us to abide also yashab, accomplish, be clearer. In other words, clear and concise with our commitment to the Most High. Confirm. That's getting into the word aman, means confirmation. Also transliterates the word faith, trust, belief, consistency. Continue, decree, endure, get up, make good, perform. In other words, execute, rear up, remain, establish. In other words, make stable, stir up, strengthen, succeed. So a ruler named Gog will invade Israel. So who is Gog? Who is Gog? Who is Magog? Who is Meshech? Who is Tubal? But let's start with Magog. Let's start with locating Magog. or Magog, however you want to pronounce it. Let's start with locating Magog or Magog. This is coming from the Eastern Bible Dictionary, 1894. Let's see who Magog is. It says region of Gog. Magog, region of who? Gog, the second son of Japheth. In Ezekiel, as you see highlighting the scriptures we're covering right now, chapter 38, verse 2, chapter 39, verse 6, it is the name of a nation. So Magog is the name of a nation, probably some Scythian or Tatar tribe descended from Japheth. They are described as skilled horsemen and expert in the use of the bow. The Latin father Jerome says that this word denotes Scythians. Make a note of that, family. Scythians, fierce and innumerable, who live beyond the Caucasus and the Lake Meatos, excuse me if I butchered the name, and near the Caspian Sea, and spread out even onward to India. Perhaps the name represents the Assyrian Mat-Gugi, or the country Gugu, the Gygs of the Greeks. But nevertheless, Scythian nations, fierce and innumerable. So make a note of the Scythians, Caucasus, or as we see Caucasus, right? Make you think about what? The Caucasus Mountain. When we think about the Caspian, that's still in a certain region. But make a note of Scythian. Magog, Scythian. Magog, region of Gog. So Magog is the second son of Japheth. Make a note of that. Genesis chapter 10, starting at verse 1, it says this. Now these are the generations of the sons of Noah, Shem, Ham, Japheth, or Japheth. Shem, in other words, Sham, Ham, Cham, Japheth, Japheth. And unto them were sons born after the flood. But here's the kicker, verse 2. The sons of Japheth, Gomer or Gamar, Magog. There we see it here. Mag-ga or Magawag. So, but Magog, and Madai, Madai or Madai, Javan, right? Or Yawan, Tubal, Thabal, and Meshach or Mashach, and Tyrus, Darayath. All right. So the sons of Japheth, Gomer, Magog, Madai, Javan, Tubal, Meshach, Tyrus. Family, these are so important because we want to identify and we're going to also confirm a key prophecy. So according to the Eastern Bible Dictionary, Magog is also connected to the Scythians. Make a note of that, family. Magog is connected to who? The Scythians. Make a note of that, family. Make a note of that. We're going somewhere. So who are the Scythians? Who are the Scythians? This is coming from Britannica. It says Scythians, also called Scyth, Saka, Sake, member of a nomadic people originally of Iranian stock, known from as early as the 9th century BCE or before the Common Era, who migrated westward from Central Asia to southern Russia and Ukraine in the 8th and 7th century BCE. The Scythians founded a rich, powerful empire centered on what is now Crimea. So we see Russia, Ukraine, we see Crimea, but notice we see the word Scythians. Make a note of that. So who are the Scythians? Who are the Scythians? Right? This is coming from an article titled Localizing Ashkenazi Jews to Primeval Villages in Ancient Iranian Lands of Ashkenaz. So an analysis of 393 Ashkenazic Iranian and Mountain Jews and over 600 non-Jewish genomes demonstrated that Greeks, Romans, Iranians, Turks exhibited the highest genetic similarity with Ashkenazi Jews. Let me say that again. Oh my goodness. Greeks, Romans, Iranians, and Turks exhibited the highest genetic similarity with Ashkenazi Jews. The geographic population structure analysis localized most Ashkenazi Jews along major primeval trade routes in northeastern Turkey adjacent to primeval villages with names that may be delivered from Ashkenaz. We dropping some bombs right here. Iranian and mountain Jews were localized along trade routes on the Turkey eastern border. Loss of maternal haplogroups was evident in non-Yiddish speaking Ashkenazi Jews. Our results suggest that Ashkenazi Jews originated from Slavo-Iranian Confederation, which the Jews call Ashkenazic, Scythian. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. We just dropped a bomb here. So when we think about the Ashkenazic Jews, they are the Scythians. Right? The Jews called Ashkenazic, an example Scythians, though these Jews probably spoke Persian or Ascetic. This is comparable with linguistic evidence suggests that Yiddish is a Slavic language created by Irano-Turco-Slavic Jewish merchants along the Silk Roads as a cryptic trade language spoken only by its originators too. So who are the Scythians, family? Who are the Scythians? Let's go to the Anchor Bible Dictionary, Volume 1. Let's see what they say about the Ashkenazi Jews. It says here, first descendant of Gomer, who is the first offspring of Japheth, in the table of nations, and it gives us some additional scriptures here. Ashkenaz appears along with Ararat and many as a kingdom called upon to oppose Babylon. The name is identified with the Neo-Assyrian Ishkuza, who appeared between the Black and Caspian Seas in the 8th and 7th century BC, driving out the Sumerians. And as you see here, Gomer, this association is reflected in Genesis 10, and threatening the Assyrians. For Herodotus, the historian, right? These people came to be called Scythians. So Ashkenazis are what? The Scythians. The correspondence of the consonants is, the consonants in Ashkenaz is Kuza, and Scythian is obvious, although the reason for the nun in the biblical name is not clear, right? It goes on to say the use of a prosthetic aleph in the seam form may suggest an initial consonant cluster in the names, which was unacceptable to seem. Although cultural associations reach back to the 3rd and 2nd millennium BC, present archaeological evidence for a distinctive Scythian culture begins in the 7th century before the Common Era. It goes on to say possible portrayals of Scythians appear on 9th century reliefs of, excuse me if I butcher this in there, Ashurn as Sopal II, but the first Neo-Assyrian mention of the Ishkuza occurs during the time of Sargon II in the 8th century BC, driving back the Sumerians. The Scythians were able to push south to dominate Asia and Media in the latter part of the 7th century BC. About this time, a Scythian raid against Egypt was stopped by Psammetichus I, and this is coming from the works of Herodotus. for the latter history of the Scythians and the question of their identification with the enemies from the north mentioned in the first part of Jeremiah. And it tells us to see Scythians. So according to the Anchor Bible Dictionary, the Scythians are the descendants of Ashkenaz. They are the same people. So why is this important? Why is this important? Because when we go to look at Scythians and this Anchor Bible, biblical scholars sometimes associate the Scythians with Ashkenaz and with the bringers of destruction in the prophecies of Jeremiah. So outside the Hebrew Bible, their reputation for savagery is alluded to in 2 Maccabees chapter 4, verse 47. The Scythians, called ashkenazi by the Assyrians, right, apparently first appeared in written history in the annals of Sarhadan, and seem to be centered at that time in what is today northwest Iran, according to Herodotus. The Scythians ruled over all of the Near East for 28 years after entering the area from the north. Traditionally, this period of rule is assigned to the 7th or 6th century BC. The Scythians continue to be mentioned in texts of the Babylonians, Persians, Greeks as allies and as enemies through the 4th century BC. By the 3rd century BC, the Scythian presence in the Near East is restricted to Crimea and the shores of the Black Sea. Ovid records Scythians' life in the 1st century AD. Come on, family. So the Scythians occupied what is called modern-day Russia and Ukraine, right? But let me play a quick clip here. You guys going to remember this, but I got to play this real quick. All right, let's play a couple of clips here. Let's start with this guy, this professor. Y'all going to recognize him, but let's start with his contradiction.
So, a little over 1,000 years ago, as Jewish people scattered around the world had now immigrated in Europe and now were living in the Rhineland in Germany, they looked at the name Gomer in Genesis 10, and they connected Gomer with Germany, so they took on the identity of the name Ashkenaz. It has nothing to do with Ashkenaz in the Bible, which is a descendant of Japhet. It's just a name that was taken. Okay, it's that simple. Just like my last name Brown doesn't refer to the color of my skin or anything else. It was shortened from a Russian name when my grandfather came over at Ellis Island. The name got shortened to Brown. It's just a name. That's all it is. So the idea that Ashkenazi Jews are descended from Japhet is a myth, 100% false.
So, according to Professor Brown, Dr. Brown, the Jewish community, as we know them, migrated to Germany. They discovered the name Ashkenaz connects to Gomer, and then they decided to take on the identity of the Ashkenaz and call themselves Ashkenazi Jews. Let's play a couple more clips here of him.
So this is a totally different group of people now, right? This nation, this people called Ashkenaz, nothing to do with Israel, nothing to do with Jewish people. Well, who are they? If you will look at virtually every major Bible dictionary, Bible encyclopedia, here's what you'll find. I'm going to read to you, for example, from the Anchor Yale Bible Dictionary, one of the most respected Bible dictionaries, multi-volume. Who is Ashkenaz? Here's what you see. The first descendant of Gomer, who is the first offspring of Japhet in the Table of Nations. In Jeremiah 51:27, Ashkenaz appears along with Ararat and Mini as a kingdom called upon to oppose Babylon. The name is identified with the Neo-Assyrian Ishkuza, who appeared between the Black and Caspian Sea in the 8th and 7th centuries BC, driving out the Cimmerians. And it goes on, Who are they then? For Herodotus, so a famous historian in time before Jesus, these people came to be called the Scythians or Scythians, right? We could read through the rest of that in detail, but this has nothing to do with Israel. This has nothing to do with the Jewish people. This has nothing to do with Ashkenazi Jews today. It was an ancient people called the Scythians or Scythians, and they leave society, they disappear, they're all gone a couple thousand years ago. Here's another Bible dictionary, Erdman's Bible Dictionary. Ashkenaz, the eldest of the three sons of Gomer, the son of Japhet, and the name of a kingdom, referencing these same verses. Most likely it was the Scythian kingdom, and then also referencing Assyrian, so Akkadian, Ishkuza. The connection to the Cimmerian invasions accounts for its relation to Gomer. Aligned themselves with the Mani, the Scythians revolted against Assyria in the 7th century BC, but were afterwards conquered by the Medes and the Persians in 538. They provided contingents of troops for the Persian attack against Babylon. And then after a few hundred years, they're lost from history. So they have zero to do with Israel, zero to do with the Jewish people, zero to do with Ashkenazi Jews today. Zero. You say, well, where did the name Ashkenazi came from?
Family, this is why we're walking this thing out. Remember what we started off with. We defined media, newspaper, right? Media as being newspaper articles, social media, internet, your cell phones. We also highlighted the word charms, canary, the spirit of ventriloquy. Then we also touched on Daniel, right? Dealing with the fourth beast, whose gift is manipulation, changing and altering. We also dealt with the word, which is where we get the word diverse, shana, right? Diverse, dealing with other people, cultures, right? It's a lot to deal with, right? Unpack. And how they were going to use discourse, to create discourse, right? Create, say great words against the Most High. In other words, create discourse, confusion of how we understand history, of how we understand the word, how we understand who's who. Said that it was going to make Israel's reputation good for nothing. Wear Israel out. Make Israel, the true Israelites, want to quit. And just hearing his words encompasses all what we just covered thus far. All that what we just covered thus far. Come on, family. If we were doing that, if we said anything or taught anything that had that many contradictions, we don't even have to contradict ourselves when we already under a lot of ridicule. But he completely didn't read the entire text of the Anchor Dictionary, because we did. And the Anchor Dictionary didn't say that these people just disappeared and fell off the face of the earth. Come on, family. So Ashkenazi or Ashkenaz is German. Ashkenazi is the German people. And he said in his own words that they, according to him, hijacked the identity of the Scythians, but said that his father, his name, last name Brown, is a Russian name. Father came over from Russia. I mean, it's just, I'm not going to spend too much time on it. I'm going to play that part one more time, and then we're going to continue because we still got a lot more to cover. So let's play his contradiction again.
So a little over 1,000 years ago, as Jewish people scattered around the world had now emigrated in Europe and now were living in the Rhineland in Germany, they looked at the name Gomer in Genesis 10, and they connected Gomer with Germany, so they took on the identity of the name Ashkenaz. It has nothing to do with Ashkenaz in the Bible, which is a descendant of Japhet. It's just a name that was taken. Okay, it's that simple. Just like my last name Brown doesn't refer to the color of my skin or anything else. It was shortened from a Russian name when my grandfather came over at Ellis Island. The name got shortened to Brown. It's just a name. That's all it is. So the idea that Ashkenazi Jews are descended from Japhet is a myth, 100% false.
Family, you cannot make this stuff up. You cannot make this stuff up. All right. So let's deal with, right? Let's continue on. There is another group of Russians who are connected to the Russians and Ukraine. Let's deal with another group of Russians. They are called the Khazars. You guys already know about this, but let's just highlight them anyway, because we're still dealing with the prophecies, right? Ezekiel chapter 38, the first 6 passages, and also Ezekiel chapter 39. They are called the Khazars. So we're identifying all the players. The Jewish community, as we know them, falls under 2 main groups: the Sephardic Jews and the Ashkenazi Jews. And even the term Sephardic is a political term. But the Ashkenazi Jews are the Eastern European Jews, which were found in Poland, Russia, Germany, and Western Asia. This group of Jews make up 90% of the so-called Jews in the world. So the Jewish Encyclopedia of 1905 revealed that the main stock of the Jews came from this people known as the Khazars, the Khazars or Khazars. Let's go to the Jewish Encyclopedia. This is volume 4. Volume 4. Let's see what it says. The Khazars, a people of Turkish origin whose life and history are interwoven with the very beginning of the history of the Jews of Russia. The kingdom of the Khazars, or Khazars, was firmly established in most of southern Russia long before the foundation of the Russian monarchy by the Varangians, or Varangians, excuse me if I'm butchering the name. Jews have lived on the shores of the Black and Caspian Seas since the first centuries of the Common Era. Historically, evidence points to the region of the Ural as the home of the Khazars or Khazars. Among the classical writers of the Middle Ages, they were known as the Khazars or Khazirs or Akazirs or Akatirs. And in the Russian chronicles, right? So we see what the Khazars are. And that here it says in the Russian chronicles as Qualices and Urgi. I'm not going to butcher this here. That's what it says here. So we identified another Russian group, right? We just identified the Russian groups. We dealt with Magog. We dealt with Gog and Magog. And we'll go back to Gog, not today. We'll have to do a part 2 to finish up with Gog. But so far, we're dealing with who? Some European groups, descendants of Japheth. So who is Meshech? Let's deal with Meshech. Right? Let's deal with Meshech. Regarding Meshech and Tubal, some assign a Russian identification connecting these 2 nations with the modern Russian cities of Moscow and Tobolsk. Wait a minute. So we're saying Meshech is connected to Moscow and Tubal to Tobolsk. These are Russian territories. Meshech, Moscow, and Tubal, Tobolsk. The first view became well known through the Schofield Study Bible, that the primary reference is to the northern powers headed by Russia all agree. The reference to Meshach and Tubal, in other words, Moscow and Tobolsk, is a clear mark of identification. Thus, the name Moscow derives from the tribal name Meshach and Tobolsk, the name of the principal state from Tubal. This view is partly based on the similarity of the sound of these names and their close proximity to Rosh, in other words, Russia. If this is so, the names Meshach and Tubal point directly to Russia, being identified with Moscow, the capital of modern Russia, and Tobolsk in Asiatic Russia. Modern Tobolsk was founded in 1587 in Western Siberia, and from there, the Cossacks rode eastward to open up all of Siberia to Russian domination. Meshach and Tubal would then be names standing for Russia in Europe and Asia. L. Sale Harrison corroborated this identification on linguistic grounds. Ethnologists, historians who track the migrations of people, tells us after the flood, the Japhanites migrated from Asia Minor to the north beyond the Caspian and Black Sea. They settled in the area of Rosh that we know today as Russia. And it goes on to say, Wilhelm Gesenius, the world-class Hebrew scholar whose Hebrew lexicon has never been surpassed, said Gog is undoubtedly the Russians. He also identified Meshach as Moscow, the capital of modern Russia. Tubal he identified as Tobolsk, the earliest province in Asiatic Russia to be colonized, and also the name of the city in which Peter the Great built the old fortress after the pattern of Kremlin in Moscow. So Meshach was founder in the Mashki, a barbarous people who dwelt in the Mashkian mountains. He went on to say that the Greek name Moshi, derived from the Hebrew Meshach, is the source of the name for the city of Moscow. And he goes on to say Tubal is the son of Raphith, founder of the Tibereni, a people dwelling on the Black Sea to the west of the Mashki, however you want to pronounce it. Then when we go to Testaments of the Grand Princes of Moscow, page 279, to give us some additional information, still tying in with all what we just read, right? So we dealing with the Testaments of the Grand Princes of Moscow, right? We see here Mashkera were a Finno-Ugaric tribe. Their descendants have either been Russified or have amalgamated with Bashkirs. Some of the more Vens call themselves Meshkers. Their name is presented in the city of Meshkovisk, Kaluga district. All right, the Meshkera. All right, so then when we go to the encyclopedia of the Eastern Bible Dictionary, 1894, this is what it tells us. It ties right into it. Meshach, drawing out of the sixth son of Japheth, the founder of a tribe, they were in all probability the Moshi or Mochai or Moshkai, however you want to pronounce it. I know I'm butchering it, family. It is what it is. A people inhabiting the Moshkin Mountains between the Black and Caspian Seas. In Psalms 120, verse 5, the name occurs as simply a synonym for foreigners, right? But it goes on to say, during the ascendancy of the Babylonians and Persians in Western Asia, the Moshi were subdued, but it seems probable that a large number of them crossed the Caucasus Range and spread over the northern steppes or steppes, mingling with the Scythians. They became known as Muscovs, dealing with Moscow, right? And gave that name to Russian nations and its ancient capital city, and its ancient capital by which they are still generally known throughout the East. So we just tied all of these guys up. We just identified all the players so far. We just identified all the players. And so far, they all point to Germanic, Russian, right? All of them are still pointing to who? Japheth. All of them are still pointing to Japheth, family. All of them. Gog, Magog, Meshach, Tubal. All of them still point to Japheth. So here's a key prophecy, Revelation chapter 20, starting at verse 7. And when the 1,000 years are expired, Satan shall be loosed of his prison and shall go out to deceive nations, which are in the four quarters of the earth, Gog and Magog, to gather them together to battle, the number of whom is as the sand of the sea. So guess what, family? We see even the prophecies of Revelation 20 tells us after the 1,000-year peace, during that 1,000-year peace, the Messiah is going to already be here. But we're going to see Gog, Magog, we're going to see all those groups of Japheth going to rise up. But we still see something happening right now. We see Gog, Magog, the descendants of Japheth, basically infighting. That's what we're witnessing right now. Infighting among Japheth, the descendants of Japheth. So we've identified Magog, Meshach, well, actually Gog as well, Gog, Magog, Meshach, Tubal as Russian territories. Did we not? Ashkenaz as being what? Germanic. So according to this prophecy, African countries are going to become their allies. Wait a minute. So whether many want to accept it or not, many are bigging up Russia, right? Have you guys not heard? Some of our brothers and sisters are bigging up Russia. This prophecy is saying many of the African nations or countries are going to team up with Russia. The descendants of Japheth, because guess what? The descendants of Japheth is on both sides. Both sides. They're fighting among each other. Britain is still the descendants of Japheth. Germany, descendants of Japheth. United States, descendants of Japheth. The Turks, descendants of Japheth. That whole Russian region, descendants of Japheth. Whether we're dealing with the Khazars, whether we're dealing with the Scythians, we're still dealing with the same people pretty much. See, that's why it's so important for us to point out who's who. The other descendants of whom I believe is the son of perdition will become allies. So we're dealing with all the descendants of the son of perdition. And all the descendants of the son of perdition has caused problems for the descendants of Shem and for the descendants of Ham. Let's go to Ezekiel chapter 38. Let's go to verse 6 and 7. Persia, Ethiopia, Libya, with them, all of them with shield and helmet. But verse 6, Gomer and all his bands, the house of Togarmah of the north quarters, and all his bands, and many people with thee. So we see these are still descendants of who? Verse 7, be thou prepared. Come on, family, we got to be prepared. Kawan, be prepared. We got to rise up. Be prepared. Prepare thyself. Be thou prepared and prepare for thyself. Thou be all thy company that are assembled unto thee, and be thou a guard unto them. In other words, when you're dealing with guard, the Hebrew word shamar, that's what Adam was his responsibility to dress and keep. Keep, shamar, also means to what? Hedge about, execute. Shamar, being a guard proactively. So is Gomer really the son of perdition? We getting ready to get into the thick of it here. Let's go to 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, starting at verse 3. Let no man deceive you by any means. Family, we got to stop allowing people to deceive us. We got to stop letting the people deceive us, family. We got to start digging deeper. Let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come except there coming a falling away first, and the man of sin be revealed, the son of who? Perdition, who opposeth. Let me update this so that way we put things in proper clarity. I thought I updated this slide. Let me do it real quick. Bear with me 1 second, family. Let me clear my throat. Come on, family. This is why we have to, the scripture says wisdom. The wisdom is having understanding. When we're dealing with these revelations, or should we say prophecies rather. Let me correct this real quick. All right, let's see here. Bear with me 1 second, family. I just want to update this slide. All right, let's see here. Let's update this slide real quick. There we go. I just had to update it, family. Let's get back over here. So let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come except there come a falling away first, and that man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition. So family, the great awakening and the falling away goes hand in hand. See, so many people are getting this truth. But how do you fall away? When you reject the truth. See, all of us were lost at one time. And then the truth was presented to us. Now, once we got this truth, now we are at a fork in the road. If we embrace this truth, then now we're found. If we reject this truth, falling away. So family, those that reject this truth, they represent the falling away. Let me say that again. Those that reject this truth, they represent the falling away. That's a fact. So in this great awakening, you have the great falling away. We see it works hand in hand. How many of your family members done rejected this truth of us being the people of the book? How many churches and pastors and leaders, groups out there rejecting us? Guess what? That's the falling away. No matter what truth you put out there, they still reject it. They are part of what? The falling away. And that it says here, and that man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition. Remember that fourth beast is man manipulation. See, that falling away comes with the territory of being manipulated under a spell, charms. Except there come a falling away first, and that man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition. Verse 4, who opposeth and exalteth himself above all that is called Elohim, or that is worshipped, so that he as Yahweh sitteth in the temple of Yahweh, showing himself that he is Yahweh. Sound familiar, right? All the imagery that we see, the depiction of who the people are, the depiction of who the Most High is. Let me play a short clip here. Let me show you the manipulation, going back to this fourth beast. Let me see if I still have this here, then we'll continue on. I know we covered a lot of information, family. We covered a lot.
This is how the Zohar interprets the opening words of Genesis. The Hebrew is Bereshit bara Elohim, which we usually translate in the beginning, God created. But the Zohar insists on reading the words in the precise order in which they appear in Hebrew. Bereshit, in the beginning, bara, it created, Elohim, God. In the beginning, it created God. The Zohar takes that to mean, in the beginning, infinity created God. Now, what could that possibly mean? God is now the object of the verse, not the subject, which sounds impossible or heretical, but the Zohar, I think, is saying that infinity is the true reality of God. Anything else that we call God is puny compared to that. That's our own imagination or our own estimate of what God could be.
So that word, infinity, actually is the name of their deity, which is called the Ein Sof, which is referred to as the Infinite One. If you study and you do the research on the Kabbalah, just look it up, Ein Sof, E-I-N-S-O-F, or A-I-N, however you spell it, you'll see it. They refer to that as being their deity. That's why he said Ein Sof created. They're saying their deity created our Most High. You see how that's tying into this passage here, this prophecy? Exalting himself above all that is called Elohim, or that is worshipped, so that he, as Yahweh, sitteth in the temple of Yahweh, showing himself that he is Yahweh. Oh man, it's a lot more we got to unpack here. Man, Apostle Paul, this is a powerful prophecy. That son of perdition is Apostle Paul referring to Gomer as the son of perdition. Excuse the typo. Is Apostle Paul referring to Gomer as the son of perdition? See, who is the son of perdition? Who opposes and exalts himself above all that is called Elohim or Yahweh? We see here God in the translation. But if we go to G-O-D, God, you guys remember this from Freemasonry, right? Let's highlight this real quick. God, G-O-D, the initials of Gomer Oz Dabar. That's what it stands for in Freemasonry. So God, G-O-D, that letter G, is the worship of Gomer. Come on, family. The sources is right here. Encyclopedia of Freemasonry, Albert G. Mackey. You can look it up. The initials of Gomer, Oz Dabar, it is a singular coincidence and worthy of thought that the letters composing the English name of deity should be the initials of the Hebrew word wisdom, strength, and beauty. The three great pillars or metaphorical supports of Masonry, they seem to present almost the only reason that a reconcile a Mason, or can reconcile a Mason. I think that's what it's supposed to say. That can, reconcile a Mason to the use of the initial G in its conspicuous suspension in the east of the lodge in the place of the delta. In other words, the triangle, right? The Yanni. The incident seems to be more than an incident, right? So that letter G in Freemasonry stands for Gomer. And as you see here, Dabar Az Gamar. All right. So the only reason that can reconcile a Mason to use the initial G. So this is to promote the worship of Gomer. Freemasonry promotes the worship of Gomer. So why is this important to know? Going back to Genesis chapter 10, verse 2. The sons of Japheth, Gomer, We see Gomer again. Magog, Madai, Javan, Tubal, Meshach, Tyrus. So again, let's see what Gomer means. The Hebrew dictionary definition of Gomer just tells us Gomer, the name of a son of Japheth. All right. It means complete. Progenitor of the Cimmerians and other branches of the Celtic family. This is where you get the word church from, the Celtics, right? So why is this important to know? Let's go back to Genesis chapter 10. Why is this important to know? The sons of Gomer, Ashkenaz, Riphath, Togarmah, the sons of Javan, Elisha, and Tarnish, Kedem, and Dodanim. So Gomer is the father of who? Ashkenaz. Remember, 90% of the Jewish community is descendants of who? Ashkenaz. So the religion of fraternity and sororities promotes worshiping Gomer. The doctrine of Gomer. What is the doctrine of Gomer? Here's the doctrine of Gomer. Revelations chapter 2. But I have a few things against thee, because thou hast there them that holds the doctrine of who? Balaam, who taught Balak to cast a stumbling block before the children of Israel, to eat things sacrificed unto idols. In other words, swine, seafood, rodents, and to commit fornication. So hast thou also them that hold the doctrine of the Nicolaitans, which thing I hate. And when we go to verse 5 in chapter 2, remember therefore from whence thou art fallen, repent and do the first works, or else I will come unto thee quickly and remove thy candlesticks out of his place, except thou repent. But this thou hast, that thou hatest the deeds of the Nicolaitans, which I also hate. So the Greek definition of the Nicolaitans, all right, the followers of Nicholas, right, Saint Nick. Notice what we see here. Nicolaitans means destruction of people. So the doctrines of Gomer, the destruction of who? People, starting with the Israelites. Right? Notice we see here, this is what we just highlighted, casting a stumbling block before the I don't like to say church. This is the Israelites. It's not the church. This is the Israelites. Church is a Celtic word, a 4th century word that was introduced to the Roman Catholics. All right. But anyway, by upholding the liberty of eating things sacrificed to idols, as well as what? Temple fornication, temple prostitution. All right. So the Messiah says he hates the deeds of the Nicolaitans and those that hold on to their destructive doctrines. So the Nicolaitans is a parasitical group that attached itself to an identity of another nation. We just saw how Dr. Brown pointed out how his descendants, according to him, took on the identity of the Scythians, the Ashkenazis. Anyway, so their parasitical doctrine and deeds were and continue to be used to conquer the children of Israel. We also see slavery in the Catholic Church. I'm not going to read all of this. You guys know I cover this over and over again. But I want you to understand it was a war here. Papal grants the kings of Portugal giving authority to enslave the Saracens and other non-Christians of West Africa with whom Christendom is at war. In 1442, a Portuguese captain brought to the Gold Coast some Moorish prisoners of war, exchanged them for 10 Negro slaves, and brought these back to Lisbon. A trading settlement was established at Lagos by 1444. Here's the kicker. It would appear that by 1452, the Portuguese were anxious to establish their property rights over their newly discovered West African territory. And so Pope Nicholas, Nicolaites, Pope Nicholas, Santa Claus, the fifth was approached and apparently led to believe, right, Nicholas, right? Destruction of people. Was approached and was apparently led to believe that these territories of the Guinea coast were inhabited by Saracens and other enemies of Christendom. There is no other explanation of a series of papal documents which applied the well-known contemporary rules of war to the situation of West Africa. Family, stop calling it a slave trade. It was a world war. The transatlantic was a world war. World War III already happened. We have to make sure that we understand what happened to our people was a world war. By the very definition of a world war, having multiple nations coming together to fight against another, that is a world war, not just reduced and dumbed down and reduced to a slave trade. It was a world war. Anyone that's telling you that it was not a world war don't know history, and they're not properly teaching the text and history correctly. It was a world war. As you see in this this document that I'm providing to you, it says contemporary rules of war. So there was a war that was declared. Paperwork was written and signed off by the Nicolaitans or Saint Nicholas to destroy a particular group of people, us, the Israelites. All right. So who are those Negroes? Who are those Negroes? Who are these Negroes? I just gave you the answer. These Negroes were systematically processed through the system of the Nicolaitans. Now back here, is Gomer the son of perdition? Is Gomer the son of perdition? Is Gomer the son of perdition? That's right, family. Each one of us are sons and daughters of prisoners of war. These religious systems, right? The mark of the beast, 666, these systems of man, Judaism, Islam, Catholicism, all enslaved us, declared war on our ancestors, and still declaring war on us to this day. So is Gomer the son of perdition? In the voice of Donald Trump, wrong. Double wrong. Gomer is not the son of perdition. I'm going to show you who the son of perdition is. We're going to reveal that tonight. Is Ashkenaz the son of perdition? Wrong. Double wrong. The son of perdition is Japheth. Oh my gosh. Family, the son of perdition is Japheth. Let me say it one more time. The son of perdition is Japheth. We have so many nuggets to show. Here's a key biblical prophecy of the son of perdition. Genesis chapter 9, verse 27. Notice what it says. Elohim shall enlarge Japheth, and he shall dwell in the tents of Shem, and Canaan shall be his servant. So Japheth is all up in the videos, all up in the heritage of Shem, all up in the heritage of Canaan. The son of perdition is Japheth. So far, every country, every group of people from Ezekiel 38 and Ezekiel 39 is pointing to who? Ultimately, Japheth, the son of perdition. Gomer is simply a son of the perdition, Japheth. Gomer is simply a son of the son of perdition, Japheth. Ashkenaz is simply a grandson of the son of perdition, Japheth. The son of perdition is the progenitor of a key son outside of Ashkenaz. We identifying these people. Let's go back over to Genesis chapter 10. Let's go to verse 2. The sons of Japheth, Gomer, Magog, Madai, Javan, Tubal, Meshach, Tyrus. Family, let's deal with Javan, right? We haven't dealt with Javan yet. Let's deal with Javan. Who is Javan? Notice what it says here. And of the race, Ionians and example Greeks, descended from him. I meant to put, I'll see if I have enough time to put in here, because Josephus gave a key information about how the Greeks was taking other identities. Let me see if I can pull that up real quick. Actually, let's read this real quick. And then when I get to the end of explaining the Greeks, I'm going to show you how Josephus talked about and called out, wrote about how the Greeks was hijacking everyone else's culture, right? In the antiquities. All right, so we see Yavan, because there was no Va in ancient Hebrew, are the Greeks. Let's go to Eastern Dictionary of Javan. Let's see what he says about Javan. Fourth son of Japheth, whose descendants settled in Greece. An example, Ionia, which bears the name of Javan in Hebrew. Alexander the Great is called the king of Javan. All right. Here's a key prophecy, Joel chapter 3, starting at verse 6. The children also of Judah and the children of Jerusalem have ye sold unto the Grecians. There we see the name Yawan in the Israeli Javan, that ye might remove them far from their border. Family, we're on the road tonight. So the nations were guilty of capturing and selling Judah as slaves. So the Greeks made major changes to one of the key pillars of the Israelites' heritage. And what is that? The language. This is coming from proofs of the interpolation of the vowel letters in the text of the Hebrew Bible. Proof of interpolation of the vowel letter and the text. All right, now let's see what it says here. But the case is widely different with regard to the further disclosure made in the following essay, namely that the Hebrew Bible, as it issued from the pens of its inspired authors, were written without vowel signs of any kind. So, family, anyone that tried to make a vowel of these consonants are actually going against the words of the Messiah. He said, don't even change the hairs of the letters. So there was no, the wa was now pronounced with the oo sound. There was no oo sound. There was no o sounds in ancient Hebrew. Every letter was written as a consonant. The vowels were not written, which is only one vowel in ancient Hebrew, which was the ah. Let me play this one more time, family. You know, I got to play this periodically. Here we go. Let me show you that starting with O, there was no O sounds in ancient Hebrew. And the U sounds comes from the oo sound, comes from the O sound when you understand linguistics. All right, but let me play this real quick.
Here's a chart that summarizes vowel class and length. And you can see across the top the three classes, ah, e, and oo. And then down the side the four lengths, long, medium, short, and very short. So let's just go over this chart. We'll start with the ah class vowels. The long vowel is cholam vav, and you'll recall that this says O as in snow. Now you might wonder why an O vowel is in the ah class, and this is because of historical considerations. Originally there was no O sound in Hebrew. Everything that is a cholam vav used to be a long ah. If you know the Hebrew word for peace, it's shalom. If you know the Arabic word for peace, it's salam. And that long ah in Arabic is now an O in Hebrew. And so historically, cholam vav was a long ah class vowel, and that's why we put it here.
All right, family. All right, family. All right, family. And I'm not going to get into it tonight, but Rome is not Esau. Let's stop that. Let's stop that. Rome is not Esau. Esau, like the Israelites, began to mess around with other nations. But Rome is not Esau. Rome is not Hebrew, because Esau is Hebrew. Come on, family. Let's Esau did not completely disappear, even though Esau entered into treaties and agreements. But let's stop that. Esau did not, the Romans did not become Edomites. Let me make that clear. Rome did not become Edomites. Study the history. Rome kicked out the Edomites. Let me say that again. Rome kicked out the Edomites. And we'll deal with Chittim in a second here. We can't sit here and we got to, and I'm going to do continue on the lesson because I started on where's Esau. I did part 1. I want to do part 2 next week. And I'll prove to you guys that, yeah, Esau, some of his descendants mixed with other and mingle with other nations. But Esau did not get completely absorbed. I can show you, and I'll show you an African tribe that are Edomites. So this is where we have to, family, this is where we, I understand, many of us, as far as when we think about Esau and the spirit, as far as the spirit of Esau, but we cannot say that Rome is Esau, the Edomites. The Edomites did not have power over the Roman government. The Roman government had power over Esau. They were the ones that installed King Herod, not the other way around. Go back and watch part 1, and we'll do part 2 next week that I did of where's Esau. All right, but let's go back here. So we see here, but the case is widely different with regard to the further disclosure made in the following essay, namely that the Hebrew Bible, as it issued from the pens of its inspired authors, were written without vowel signs of any kind, whether points or letters. So it says there was no Nikud, which is the Masoretic points. There was no vowel letters. That's what this is saying. There was no vowel points. There were no vowel letters. That there were Halep, Yod, Wa are now to be seen as seen in pointed text, useless. So they're saying that the Aleph, the Yod, and the Wa in the ancient Hebrew, Alap, Yad, and Wa, they're now used as vowel letters. That's why it says it's saying they're useless now because they can make a number of different sounds in Israeli language. And this all started with the Greeks. Useless and the unpointed one diverted from the primary and proper use to the occasional service of denoting vowels. They there constitute no part of the original writing, but were interpolated. So this is making it clear that these letters that are now being used as vowels, they were not part of the original writings. Again, this is Charles William Wall, 1857. They there constituted no part of the original writing, but were interpolated in it long after. So then when we go down to 11, it says here, in the first place, then about 2 centuries after the termination of the Babylonian captivity, and while a considerable number of persons still continued to speak pure Hebrew as their vernacular dialect, Asia was invaded by a people who had introduced into the original alphabet the vast improvement of vowel letters. So this is saying the Greeks modified these letters. They interpolated the Hebrew language, and the Jews were, in consequence, forced, in spite of their prejudices, to learn a species of writing that made them acquainted with the use of such letters. In the second place, their scriptures were very soon afterwards translated into the tongue connected with this writing. So it's saying that they were forced to have that language interpolated. Then they translated the scriptures in a reflection of an interpolated language by the order, as tradition tells us, of a pagan government dealing with the Greeks, and at any rate in the country in which they and their religion were. It says peculiarly hated and despised. This rendering of the Old Testament into Greek, a language at that time understood throughout civilized portions of the world. So family, the Greeks, they did a lot of it. They changed this language. What you hear today is an interpolated influence of the Greeks with all these vowel letters, these sounds. So when will Gog invade Israel? That's a good question, right? Does this event already occur? Right? Going back to Revelations, and did I put it all here? Because I think I added another one here. Don't tell me, family. I may have forgot to add, and I may have to do a part 2. Yeah. I don't want to get into this portion here. I forgot to add Kittim. Yeah, I took Kittim out, family. Because when we start dealing with the Romans, we dealt with the Greeks, we dealt with the Romans. All right. I'm not going to deal with this part of the prophecy yet, because according to the prophecy, as I just pointed out, I'll just read it real quick. I'll read verse 9 and 10, and I'm going to see if I can add to Josephus here so you can understand how the Greeks interpolated and started hijacking other cultures. It says here, and they went up on the breadth of the earth and compassed the camp of the saints about, and the beloved city, and fire came down from Yahweh out of heaven and devoured them. And the devil that deceived them was cast into the lake of fire and brimstone, where the beast, the false prophet shall be tormented day and night forever and ever. So according to the book of Revelation, this war will not take place until after the 1,000-year reign. During this time, Satan is set loose at the end of the millennium. He will immediately deceive nations. All right. Scripture tells us that everyone on the earth during the millennium reign will not be saved. All right. But let me go ahead and add this here, because I don't want to get into all of this. I really don't. Let me see if I could get Josephus real quick. And then we'll close out with this. I can't believe I didn't put Kittim in here, because Kittim, I thought I had it in here. I believe I deleted it accidentally out of this presentation. But again, family, we done identified them all here. But let me see here. I can't believe I missed it. I think I accidentally removed Kittim. Actually, I believe it's in. I think it's in this presentation. Let me go here. Can't believe I did that. I have to blame somebody. Let me see here. I can't believe I didn't put. I removed Kittim here. But family, as you see, all the sons of Japheth pretty much went at Israel. Yeah. Can't believe I didn't keep Kittim in here. So we'll add Kittim. We'll go over Kittim next week. But I'm trying to get Josephus. No, it's not in that one. Let me get another one. Can't believe I didn't put Kittim in here. Or took Kittim out, rather. Let me try this one here. If not, family, we'll do it next our next live. Well, actually, tomorrow we're going to deal with a different subject. So let me see if I can. That's going to be a nice one. We'll touch on some things tomorrow. If I can't find it here, I'll make sure that it's in. I'll bring it up tomorrow night, because I really want to read the Josephus. Let me try one more. Can't believe I took it out. I think I know where it's at. Let me see here. I think it's this one here. Let me pull it up here. Let me pull up this lesson here. And I have so many lessons that I have to make sure I start grouping them in a certain group to be, so it'll make it easier for me to get to certain ones. Let's see here. Yeah, family, we may have to table this and I'll bring it out in part 2. I'm going to try to check 2 more. If not, we'll have to table this. Let's see if it's in this one. Not that one. Let's try this one. Can't believe I did that. Let me see. All right, I think I found it. Yeah, I'm going to copy this over right now. All right, let me read to you what Josephus said about the Greeks. All right, we covered a lot. So we identified the son of perdition, and within that, we identified that when we dealt with Gog, Magog, and all of them, those guys, we were able to identify who's who among them. But let me just read this source real quick. I'm just copying it over into here from another presentation. So let's go ahead and clean this up. All right, here we go. Now I want you guys to pay attention to this. This is Josephus spilling the beans on the Greeks. All right, here it is. This is coming from, Josephus, the Jewish Wars, chapter 5. And notice what it says here. After this, they were dispersed abroad on the account of their languages and went out by colonies everywhere. And each colony took possession of that land which they light upon and upon which God led them, so that the whole continent was filled with them, both the inland and maritime countries. There were some also who passed over the ships and over the sea ships. Also who passed over the sea and ships and inhabited the islands. And some of those nations do still retain the denominations which were given them by their first founders, but some have lost them also, and some have also admitted certain changes in them, that they might be more intelligible to the inhabitants. And they were the Greeks, who became authors of such mutations. For when and after ages they grew potent, they claimed to themselves the glory of the antiquities. In other words, the ancient times. During that time, they hijacked other cultures. They hijacked other identities. They began to hijack all the good stuff and the different discoveries of other cultures and put their names on top of it. Going back to that fourth beast, manipulation, right? The Greeks who became the authors of such mutations, for when and after ages they grew potent, they claimed to themselves the glory of antiquities, giving names to the nations that sounded well in Greek, that they might be better understood among themselves, and setting agreeable forms of government over them, as if they were a people derived from themselves. And we'll stop right here, family. This is a perfect place to stop. Just stop right here. Family, I gave you a lot of information. I gave you a lot of sources. I gave you a lot of sources. I gave you a lot of sources, family. A lot of sources. We covered a lot of information. We identified the sons or the countries, the people of Ezekiel chapter 38 and 39. So what we're seeing right now, truth be told, according to scripture, it's infighting. It's the descendants of Japheth fighting among themselves. So we'll stop right here, family. So let me see some shout outs here as we get ready to wrap up. See if I missed anyone. Okay, I didn't. Let's see here. All right. I see my sister Malaka. Wow, transatlantic was a world war. Bring it all the way out. Absolutely, sis. Family, let's show some love to my sister Malaka. Also, I see my buddy Jay Highstyle in the building. I see Sister Carol in the building as well. I'm not going to drop the link here because I'm not going to go any further than what I went tonight because I still have to teach tomorrow. But I hope this blesses you, family. I hope this answered questions that you guys may have had. I hope this giving you proper clarity. I hope this give you proper clarity. So yeah, I see a question here. Let me just answer this real quick. So doesn't whole Gog Magog prophecy happen at the end of the millennium reign? Yeah. It happens at the end. Now, what we're seeing right now is Israel continuously being trodden down by the other nations. Because when you look at the true Israel, Egypt took part of it. Jordan took part of it. You just see a small little piece of it left, which is basically Judea. You see a small part of Israel remaining. So we'll touch on that. I know we covered a lot. So really appreciate your family. With that being said, let's see how we're looking with the likes before we wrap up here. Let me just look here real quick. Let's see here. Let's see where we are with the likes. All you know what? I didn't bring my phone in here. All right, I can't sign in, but let me see where we are with the likes. All right. So, family, as we get ready to wrap up, I see we're at 400 and move this out the way. I know we got to have more than it's on my end 0. All right, 466. All right, family, let's see if we could get those likes up to 500. On my end, I'm seeing 466. But let's get those likes up to at least 500. We have over 800 inside the building, so to speak. And let's share the video. If you're not subscribed to the channel, subscribe to the channel. Let's get it over 43.5. Our target is 50,000 subscribers by the end of this year. We've been shadow banned for a while, and Google is doing a lot of crazy stuff with preventing the notifications from getting out. But hit the like. The more you hit that like button, the more it's going to get the video out there and get us out of that algorithm, that shadow ban algorithm. So share this video. I know I gave a lot of information, even though we're getting ready to wrap up in terms of the lesson. But the conversation you don't have to end the conversation in the chat. You can continue on in the comment section. All I ask is let's be respectful. Let's not use any curse words. Let's not use any name calling, because we are surrounded by a cloud of witnesses, and people from outside looking in would do whatever they can to try to shut down what we're doing here. And family, We're almost there. We're at 492. We almost at 500. All right. Doesn't cost you anything to get us to hit that like button. So family, really appreciate it. Got us at 500. Hallelujah. And I know we covered a lot of information. And thank you again for bearing with me as I went through this here presentation. And we'll do this again tomorrow. Tomorrow, I'm going to explain why I stated that I am praying for Israel, but not this Israel. All right. Or not that Israel, rather. I'm praying for Israel, but not that Israel. So with that being said, these are the words that the Most High gave Moses to encourage Israel when they came out of Egypt and they came to their first major challenge, what seemed to be a dead end. The children of Israel began to complain. They began to have regrets and wanted to go back to Egypt. But the Most High gave Moses these words to give to them, to soothe them, to comfort them, and encourage them to keep moving forward. Exodus chapter 14, verse 13 to 14. Fear ye not, stand still, see the salvation of Yahweh. These Egyptians that you see here today, you will never have to deal with them again. They will not have power over you ever again. The Most High will fight for you. But here's the kicker, family. We have to hold our peace. In other words, be quiet. Kharash, that's the ancient Hebrew word for be quiet. Can't go back. Can't stay here. Keep moving forward. Shalom.
Listen, Genesis chapter 11, verse 10 explains the genealogy of Shem. Shem was a black man in Africa. If you repeat this back, Genesis 14, verse 13, Abraham steps on the scene. Being a descendant of Shem, which is a fact, means Abraham too was black. Abraham, born in the city of a black man, called Nimrod, grandson of Ham. Ham had 4 sons. One was named Canaan. Here, let me do some explaining. Abraham, Isaac was the... Jacob had 12 sons, for real, and these were the children of Israel. According to Genesis chapter 10, these were the children of Israel. According to Genesis chapter 10.